Every year there's a few undrafted guys that sometimes make it in the league. They weren't the hype lottery picks, they didn't have the ESPN graphics even, but they played hard, they played smart, and they just found ways to win. These are 3 undrafted free agents who don't just have a real shot to make rosters, but actually stick in the league. First up, Dylan Cardwell. He went undrafted out of Auburn and now is on a two-way with the Kings. So, why didn't he get picked? For one, the tools, they don't jump off the page. His standing reach, just 7'1", it's pretty average for a center. The free throws, it's straight up brutal, 32%. That makes him so hard to trust late in games. I understand all of that. He also got overshadowed at Auburn. You're talking playing behind Johnny Broome, they would often start together, but on offense he was certainly not the focal point. But here's the thing, I think Cardwell ends up being more impactful than Broome at the next level because physically, Cardwell is an absolute freak. Explosive, laterally quick in a way you don't see at 6'10 normally. And defensively, he's already NBA ready. He can guard 1 through 5. He changes the dynamic of the game. He can anchor a defense, and he brings this edge through physical play, toughness, and high IQ. There are plenty of centers in this class. Take his teammate, Maxime Reynaud. They might look more polished offensively and have the better offensive highlights, but they can't do this. Cardwell was the reasons Auburn defense has consistently been elite. He didn't just benefit from their system of having good defensive players around him. He was the system. He led the SEC in offensive rebounding percentage on a team full of good rebounders. He shot 70% from the field, never forcing anything, just finishing the plays when they came to him. When the opportunity arrived, he would seize it. And he stacks winning possessions on top of winning possessions, on top of winning possessions, on top of winning possessions, on top of winning possessions. Look at the pick and roll. Even when he never touched the ball, he was dominating. Defenders would play drop coverage, thinking obviously he's not a shooting threat, but his screens were nasty. Guards could not get around them, and so Auburn's ball handlers got these clean looks off that alone. That's the real NBA value. Cardwell's handle is actually pretty solid for his size. The feel is there, and the character is one of the best in the class. It's legit. Late in games, yeah, the free throws are going to be a problem. They're definitely a problem, but honestly, it looks like he's just not even using his legs, and a couple technical tweaks could actually probably make a real difference. Even if that improves just a little, suddenly he's way harder to take off the floor. Early in quarters, he gives you energy, he gives you defense, rim protection. That's huge value on a two-way. And now with Jonas Valanciunas gone and Reynaud as the other backup, don't be surprised if Cardwell is actually the one getting minutes when Sabonis is sitting. The second player, now let's talk about Caleb Grill, who signed an Exhibit 10 deal with Chicago. Yeah, he got kicked off the team at Iowa State. The program, they never released details. They kept it really under the rug. But my understanding, it might have been a confrontation with the AD after senior night. Whatever the issue was, regardless of it, you can only assume it wasn't just the first issue, rather the final straw. But here's what happened next, and I'm going to spin this story to fit my narrative because it's based in truth. Grill turned that rock bottom into leadership. He transferred to Missouri and became the team captain there. He was their voice, the connector, the guy who held things together, and the impact was huge. There's proof to all of this. The year before Grill arrived, Missouri didn't win a single game, 0-18 in SEC play. With him, they jumped from 136 to 8th in offensive rating. Defensively, they climbed from 181st to 68th. That's no coincidence. Grill was the coincidence. His off-ball movement, elite. His IQ, crazy high. Best true shooting in the SEC. Low turnover rate, always in the right spot. And yeah, his college career was inconsistent, but on the court, he was always consistent. Even when he went through a shooting slump late on in the year, which all players go through, even Steph Curry, he was still very productive in impacting winning, and it never broke Grill's confidence to take those shots. It just took him 6 years to learn what most players subconsciously and innately pick up early on in their careers. And here's my take. When Caleb Grill thought he figured it out, he hadn't. Not until this final year. That's when it actually clicked. Now he's ready. He plays smart, plays hard. Don't be surprised when Caleb Grill sticks. The third one, Cliff Omoruyi. He signed a two-way with the Raptors. Born in Nigeria, grew up playing soccer, not basketball. He didn't start hooping until he was 14. Didn't speak English, didn't even know the game. But from the jump, he was different. The soccer background, it shows. His off-ball movement, his cutting, and his instincts, it's all really advanced. He gets knocked because he's older. He's turning 24 in October. He fouls a lot. You're talking 5.5 fouls per 40 minutes. Plus, there's not much stretch to his game. The jumper and the playmaking aren't necessarily there. But I'll ask you this. Do you want a floor spacer or a guy who revolutionizes your defense? Because Cliff changed everything on that end. At Rutgers, they ranked 6th in defensive rating in 2023, then 5th in 2024. And in 2025, when they lost Cliff and they added 2 top 5 picks in Ace Bailey and Dylan Harper, they dropped to 116th. It's not a knock on Ace or Dylan, it just shows how much Omoruyi mattered. Then he transfers to Alabama. They go from 111th in defense in 2024 to 28th in 2025 while playing the fastest pace in the country. That kind of leap at that speed is absurd. And Cliff, he was the anchor. Laterally quick, plays hard, NBA physicality, still has room to grow strength-wise, but the baseline is really strong. Offensively, it's simple. He led the SEC in 2-point field goal percentage. He rim runs, rebounds, and finishes. No jumper? Fine. That's not his job. Here's the real point. Look at the league. UBC Jackson Hayes, Daniel Gafford, Derek Lively, Mitchell Robinson, Jared Allen, Onyeka Okongwu, Dwight Powell, Mark Williams, even Jericho Sims has carved out a niche. They all vary in talent, but they've all found roles because this type of play style, it works. Now take that mold and add the strength and, more importantly, the motor of Cliff Omoruyi. No way it doesn't stick. So those are my 3 guys. Cardwell, Grill, and Omoruyi. All undrafted, but all have real upside to carve out a role in the league. I've got more than I'm watching too. Kobe Johnson and Steve Settle stick out to me. For guys that didn't sign two-way or Exhibit 10s yet and are just playing in the Summer League, Chris Magnon I'm huge on, as well as also like an Ethan Taylor, Hayden Gray, and Zach Hicks to all play specific roles. And then there's this next tier of players, and that's going to be Julian Reese, Tyson Dagenhart, Ryan Nemhard, and Chucky Hepburn. Not sure if they're ever going to stick, but there's some intrigue to them. The important thing here is that not every pass starts with a handshake on draft night, but that doesn't mean it ends there. A few of these guys, they're not just Summer League names, but they're future rotation players. Maybe even more than that. Shout out Caruso and Lou Dort, champions. The opportunity's in front of them. Let's see who takes it.